Tim Walberg is serving his second term in Congress, representing counties in Lenawee, Calhoun, and Washtenaw. The former pastor turned politician in 1982 when he was elected to the Michigan House of Representatives. This self-described family man considers himself a defender of traditional values, a principled legislator, and a fiscal reformer who is fighting to restore what America is about.
My constituents over the years have concluded that while we may not necessarily agree with Walberg in every case, yet we know that he'll consistently stand on a principle that's defined in the Constitution that speaks for liberty, choice, and opportunity in our lives as it protects life itself.
Creating more jobs, expanding opportunities, and growing South Central Michigan's economy is Walberg's top priority. He says it all starts with providing families and small businesses with across-the-board tax relief to encourage hard work and investment.
Letting Michigan's people, letting its small business people, its corporations, its employees do the job that only they could do in growing economy, and give them the freedom to do that, allow them to keep more of their own hard-earned dollars in their own pockets for their own investment and spending and saving, it would produce success. And we saw that take place in the 90s in Michigan.
Tim believes government is a good thing, established by God and backed by Scripture. But he promises to continue his fight to limit federal spending with a debt over $16 trillion and what he calls government interference in the lives of American people.
Frankly, this administration and members of the administration's party don't seem to get it, that every single regulation or tax policy or spending policy that goes on at the federal level has an impact on the growth of our economy or the lackluster back down of our economy as well.
When it comes to health care, he agrees with the current administration and the public for that matter that it's too expensive. However, he calls Obamacare an unneeded government takeover.
That's exactly what it was. When you have a 15-member unelected, unaccountable board of bureaucrats who will decide whether you and I should receive that care on the basis of the cost, that's a concern to me about the freedom of what America is and the opportunity of the American dream to have even health care that meets our needs and that our doctor and in consultation with ourselves will make a decision is best for our own lives. So to take it all over and become the largest tax increase in the history of the United States when it's fully implemented, and the Supreme Court justices concurred with that, was the wrong approach.
Walberg suggests a plan that he has already introduced as legislation in Congress.
Let's do a private sector, patient-centered approach, where the patient and the healthcare provider are the key component parts of making the best decision for the health of the patient. And so we'll expand health savings accounts, not only their size and scope, but their flexibility. We'll allow associated health plans for the first time so small businesses can join together in an economy of scale like the big three. And I'm glad we can say the big three again. But they can join together and purchase health care at a reduced cost because of a larger pool of employees in that associated health plan.
Tim Walberg loves his family, fly fishing, and motorcycles, but most of all, he loves his faith and proclaims his Christianity. However, he says that doesn't mean he wears it on his sleeves as a congressman. He says he has a responsibility to serve people who might not agree with his religion.
I'm pro-life. From natural conception to natural death. And I'm proud of that fact, and I would hope that that would give my constituents the security that I'm going to protect their number one right, the right to life, but also to right to liberty. That in this context, I espouse the fact that whether you agree or disagree with me, within the context of our Constitution, you have all the rights, all the liberties that I have. And I will fight for that, including the right to speech that I may disagree with. And then finally, the right to happiness, which was defined by our founders as a right to property.
As far as the last word goes for this interview, here's what Tim had to say.
I've heard from the people of this district. It's a thrilling story that they give, but it's also a frustrating story that with all of that that's out there, we have chosen to define and to stand in the way of some of the good things that can happen. So if given the opportunity to represent them again in Congress, they can be certain that I'm going to go back and fight for their freedom, their liberty, their opportunity, and then ultimately stand back and smile as I see success.
Vic Faust, 7 Action News.